You know what was really fascinating to me when I was reading this, and you did mention that there were over 100,000 participants over a 30-year period. So it's a really excellent study. And what was fascinating is that only from this group, only 9.3% of the participants achieved healthy aging, as we just described it, getting to 70 without those chronic health issues. So, what does this tell you and tell us about our current dietary habits?
Right.
This to me is the most important question that I'm asking you today. It's
And
like,
it's not a
what?
great answer.
Only 9.3%?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing we should say, it doesn't speak very well of the average American diet. And it's also worth noting, like you said, those 105,000 or so people that they followed, there were all nurses and other health professionals.
Right. They
When
should know better.
one would think that they would tend to be eating better than, your average American, but I think this just further emphasizes generally how terrible the average American diet is. It's loaded with processed food, highly processed foods, the prevalence of fast food places, our tendency to eat on the go, to eat distracted. Portion sizes, of course, are huge compared to, portion sizes in other countries. So, we have a lot going against us. Even if we want to try and do the right thing in terms of eating well, it's easier to grab something from the fast food place or to, eat unconsciously almost while we watch TV or in the car even. So there are many things sort of loaded against us to try and eat healthy. And so, yeah, I do think this is a very poignant example of how poor the average American diet is.
Right. I mean, what came out of that, of course, and you just mentioned it, was our high intake of ultra processed foods that we just can't seem to shake it. I mean,
Right.
we've been hearing about processed foods for forever, it seems like. We know this. So why is it so hard? You mentioned quick, easy, inexpensive. I mean, everyone's rushing, everyone's working long hours. I mean, it really is different. Of course, one thing that came to mind when I was reading this study and then, preparing my notes to talk with you was not long ago, I had a really great guest on, and she had written a book about the Swedish way of life, the lagom, it's called, lagom. She wrote a book about it with her mother, who is from Sweden. Lovely book, wonderful, lovely conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I wanted to just jump through the computer and say, I want to go live in Sweden. So everybody should live like this. There is no loneliness. They all eat together. They don't eat processed foods. They eat kind of the way we talked about in our last episode, Gretel. A lot of protein, fruits, vegetables, good grains, beans. It just was an incredible thing, but it was a normal way of life. Whereas ultra processed foods, for us, that's the normal way of life.